আরে এখন সব লাইট অন। ওই যে মার্জিনকে ডাকবো, মাছি যখন ডাকবো না তো ফাদারকে ডাকবো, মার্জিন তখন আসবে, মার্জিনকে ডাকবো। যাবো যাবো এখানে দাঁড়ো। এখন ধরতে হবে না, যখন বলবো তখন ধরো। যাই। কি হচ্ছে? ঠিক আছে, দেখছি, দাঁড়া, এটা হয়ে যাক। Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to our workshop on AI and digital content creation. We will now begin our sessions. Our first session is on nuts and bolts of AI and digital content creation. And to speak on this topic today, we have Dr. Topolina Bhattoshali, Head of the Department of Information Technology, St. Xavier's College Autonomous, Morning Section, Kolkata. Dr. Topolina Bhattoshali is an accomplished academician and researcher currently serving as Assistant Professor 2 and Head of the Department of Information and Technology at St. Xavier's College, Kolkata. She holds a PhD in computer science and engineering with her doctoral research focusing on developing a secure Internet of Things framework for healthcare applications conducted in collaboration with AGH University of Science and Technology, Poland. With over 15 years of academic experience and 2 years in industry, Dr. Bhattoshali's expertise spans artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science, cybersecurity, blockchain, and sustainable development goals. He has held esteemed positions, including Visiting Research Associate at Białystok University of Technology, Poland, and her work on rural healthcare in India has earned global recognition from IEU Maldives. A senior member of the Association for Computing Machinery, Dr. Bhattoshali is also an active member of several professional organizations. Her prolific research output includes over 60 research frequently contributes as an editor, reviewer, and resource person for national and international events. She maintains an active research collaborations with institutions in Poland and Azerbaijan. Among her many accolades, she has been awarded the Young Researcher Award by the Global Outreach Research and Education Society, in addition to several national and international honors in both teaching and research excellence. Dr. তুমি এখানে দাঁড়ো, এখানে দাঁড়ো। Please have the lights of the dais off for the presentation to begin. Going to give a brief overview on nuts and bolts of artificial intelligence and digital content creation. I am starting from the zero level. I know many of you know the basics of artificial intelligence, but still I am starting from the zero level, and the session should be the interactive one. If you have any question, if you want to contribute, you want to add something, you can add this one. Thank you. So you know that artificial intelligence has become the inevitable part of our daily lives, but this is not a new concept. In the year 1950, British mathematician Alan Turing, he proposed one test that is known as imitation test to differentiate between machine and the human. So that test is known as actually the Turing test. I hope many of you know that Turing test, where the concept is there is one human questionnaire and two respondents will be there. One is the human respondent, another is computer respondent. Now human questionnaire send a set of questions to identify whether the respondents is the computer or the human beings. If the questionnaire is successful to differentiate between the human and the computer, then this computer will fail the Turing test. But if he cannot differentiate, that means the computer passed the Turing test. That does not mean that the computer needs to give the correct result, but how it can respond, that is matter that can be considered. So if it can respond just like human beings, so it can be considered that this has the artificial intelligence. So in the year 1950, we have the basic concept of artificial intelligence, which is a method to determine whether a machine can demonstrate human intelligence or not. Now all of us know that if we think about the artificial intelligence, as I mentioned that I will start from the zero level, this is a simulation of human intelligence in machines to think, to act like the human beings. Now already it has been discussed that AI cannot replace human beings. Why? Because when I am injecting the intelligence level in the machine, it cannot be automatically injected. We need human beings who can inject this level, this algorithm, this logic, this rule, so that it can work in smarter way. So there should be the difference, and we need to respect the difference. So this is the man-made intelligence, whereas human intelligence is the natural one, and AI learns from data, whereas human beings have the experience, interaction. We can get the data from this, we can learn from the environment. Now the question is, what is the requirement of AI? If human can do all the things, then what is the requirement of AI? Obviously we have the emotion, we have the stress, we cannot perform well all the times. So that time, as if we want to reduce our load, if we want to do some repetitive work, if we want to do some complex works, that can be done by the artificial intelligence. So the objective is not to replace the human being, to help the human being to give some better result, and it can work 24 hours, which is not possible for any human being. Now when you are thinking about the nuts and bolts of artificial intelligence, we need to know about few things. First one is data. So we are dealing with right now the digital data. Data may be of different formats. We need to find out which type of data we are using, from where our model can learn. Next one is algorithm. The set of rules are there.
on the basis of which the model can work. And next one is model. That means model is the entity or object. We can say that our students, this is similar to that, whatever we are teaching, student can respond accordingly. So that is the model, how this model can learn and how it can react. So that is one part of artificial intelligence. Now training. Training is one component where this is just like your semester, your interaction in a semester with the students. So how they can learn. So this phase is the training that is very important, and based on this phase your model success can depend. And next one is inference. So whether after giving the training, when you give the test data or sample data, how it can give the response, whether it is correct, what is the accuracy level. Based on this we can find out the success of our artificial intelligence model. So we all know the terms right now, that artificial intelligence, what is artificial intelligence, what is machine learning. So this is one circular, this is the subset superset relation. Basically artificial intelligence, we can say this is the superset, this provides the holistic activities, all the things are there, all the activities are included there, whereas machine learning is the subset of artificial intelligence and deep learning is the subset of machine learning. So I can give one example in real life. If you can consider, as most of us are, I think all of us are the teacher. So when we are teaching in the class, we can identify the IQ level of the students. These are not same for all the students. Now the question is that, suppose one student has high IQ level compared to the others. I am teaching in the same way in the class. Now one student can capture better than others. Now I can identify this student, I can train them, I can train him more, and in that case he becomes smarter day by day, not only in my subject, in several domains he can perform well based on his capacity, based on his brain or IQ, whatever I am saying. So if I can do this one, if I can do the mentorship for a student from the 0 level to a smarter student, this is the success of artificial intelligence. So this is the holistic part, many things are there. So this is the concept of artificial intelligence. Now I am coming to the machine learning. So this is the subset of the artificial intelligence, where what I can say in the machine learning part, I am teaching in the class, I am providing some notes to my students. Now I will give a set of question paper during exam. Now all the students cannot perform same, but I am teaching the same thing, I am giving the same notes. So that depends on how these students learn, how much time he or she spent during in their study. Now the question is that machine learning is just like that, depending on your learning pattern, depending on the learning time, it can respond, it can give the answer of your question. So that is the concept of machine learning, how it can give the answer after teaching in the class. So this is the learning model. If I think in the artificial intelligence, already I discussed the model part, is the learning model. We can assume learning model is similar to the student, and whatever question paper I am giving to that student, this is the test data, and whatever I taught in the class, that is the learning data or training data. So accordingly we can identify what is the success of this model, what is the success of this student. So this is similar to the machine learning part. Now I am coming to the deep learning part. This is more advanced and complex. So how can I give the explanation here? Same thing, suppose one student is very good in mathematics. Now I am teaching, suppose I am teaching mathematics in my class. So I am giving a set of questions, I am giving some mathematical problems. Now he or she can solve the maths. Now beside this, he has the interest to do something more. So he can search some resources, he can attend some workshop, seminar like this. In that way he or she can expand his learning phase. Later he is capable to appear in some competitive exams and he or she can perform well. That depends on the capacity, or what we can say the structure of the brain. We know the brain structure, the neuron, the parts are there. So we can give the example, this whatever our brain structure, gray matter, whatever we have, this is the neural network. We can say this part, based on the structure of this neural network, this model can respond. So all the students may not perform well in the competitive exam, but few students can do this. That is similar to the deep learning. Deep learning can solve some complex problems which may not be always performed by the machine learning algorithms. So this is the basic thing of the artificial intelligence, machine learning and deep learning. Now when you are discussing these concepts, we need to think about the data. As we already discussed, data is the important part of any computing. Different types of data are available. These can be classified: unstructured data, structured data, semi-structured data. What is structured data? When you will get the process data from where you can directly get the answer. So that is the structured data. You can see the tabular form here. This is the structured data. So you can see the ID, student ID, name, age, degree, all have been mentioned. Now the same things have been mentioned in the unstructured data part, but in a paragraph. So when I want to take the quick decision, it is difficult for me to read through the paragraph or all the details. So when you are dealing with the data, data processing is very important, and we may face problem when we are facing the unstructured data. That may be the audio, image, text, but there is no suitable format. I need to find out what are the things I need to search from here. It will take time. Sometimes I may make mistake. So that is the problem in the unstructured data. And semi-structured data or quasi-structured data are also there. Semi-structured data means you can see all that is not directly the structured one, but you can understand student ID is one field, then name, age, degree, whatever you want under the university tag, all the things have been mentioned. So this is in between the structured data and unstructured data. But these tags are not uniform. This is the XML format, extended markup language. I am not going to that details, but these are the semi-structured part. And what is the quasi-structure? You all know, you are familiar with the web page. If you click on this and right click on this, there is a code option is there. You can see the code of the web page. That is known as normally the hypertext markup language or HTML. HTML code tags are fixed. We are not defining this one. We cannot change this one. Already it has been designed. So if I want to include this field under the HTML tags, which are already defined, then this is the quasi-structured data. So when I am dealing with this artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, we need to think about which type of data we are using and how we can process the data. That is very important. Now different types of artificial intelligence are available. Mainly when I want to solve a particular problem, this is a narrow AI or weaker AI. All of us are familiar with the Alexa, Siri, so they can do a particular work. So that part is, if I will design my model in such a way which can solve a particular problem. This type of AI is known as narrow AI or weaker AI. Now we come to the next point. I want to design a robot. I want to develop a robot which can do multiple works. That is the concept of artificial general intelligence. But the problem is that at the first day, robot may not perform well as expected. Day by day, it can learn from the environment and it can do its work. So if we can say that Alexa or Siri are the examples of artificial narrow intelligence which can perform particular set of tasks. We can give the example of robotics or robots as the artificial general intelligence whose domain is more compared to the weak artificial intelligence. Now I am coming to the artificial super intelligence. It is very problematic. It may create problem because human beings may not control this type of intelligence. So we need to be very careful. Already we discussed many times about the ethics of AI. So this is the still now this is under research part, because agents solve incredibly complex problems in ways that are beyond human capabilities. In few cases it work well, because whatever we cannot do, that can be done by this type of intelligence level. But if we cannot control, if as a human beings, if we cannot control this one, sometimes it may be the problematic one. So in reality, if we cannot control artificial superintelligence, it will be the problematic part. Now key components of AI, when you are discussing about this, already we discussed the machine learning, deep learning, what are the basic concept of machine learning and deep learning. I am not going to that details. Now cognitive computing. If I can simulate human thought process in machine, that is the cognitive computing. You can say, I am giving the example of Alexa. When you are saying something or you give the instruction, or number of voice assistants are already there, so that instructions actually processed through the natural language processing or NLP. Whatever you are saying, that instructions will be processed, and the main part, suppose you want to say Alexa to start a music. Now which type of music you want, that will be extracted through natural language processing. Now there are also the deep learning network which can identify where I have this, whether I have this type of music or not. Then cognitive computing thought, what I need to do right now? Should I play this music? And if it is not available, in that case I will also give the answer. I can respond to that, this type of music are not available. So these are the part of artificial intelligence. First one is cognitive computing, where I can simulate human thought. We can translate the language, whatever I am speaking, that can be translated through natural language processing. Neural network, already I discussed, this is my structure of my brain, or gray matter neuron structure. This is the thing how I can respond. And next one is computer vision. Suppose you are teaching your child with an image. This is the image of the cat. This is the image of the dog. After few days, in the real environment, if he or she can identify this is the cat and this is the dog, this is the computer vision. But how you can, that is the part of the computer vision, that means your machine can identify, visualize. Through computer vision I can identify this is the cat, this is the dog, because I have learned this one, this object is cat, this object is dog. So same thing, the visualization, if I can simulate inside the computer, that is the method of the computer vision. But before this I need to train the model so that it can identify which one is the cat, which one is the dog. Now when I am coming to the machine learning part again, what is the difference between the traditional computing and machine learning? In the traditional computing, if I want to do something, if I want to perform some calculation, I need to design a set of codes, some programs, so that it can do the calculation. That may be the simple calculation or the complex calculation, but I need to write the code. So you can see here, in the traditional computing, what I need to put, data input and program or set of code in my machine so that it can generate the output. But when I am coming to the machine learning, I know what I want. First I need to, at the training phase, I need to give the model the idea what I want. So output is known to me. Also set of data I can inject. So based on the injected data and based on my desired output, the machine can learn and machine can behave accordingly. So that is the difference between the machine learning and the traditional computing. So these are the few steps. You can collect the data and then data can be processed, data can be cleaned, because there are a number of irrelevant data when I am collecting it from the real world. So that can be processed. After that I can analyze the data and I can make some conclusion. These conclusion may be correct, may not be correct. If it is correct, it's okay. If the accuracy is low, in that case again I need to customize the model so that it can work well. So day by day I can expand my learning phase and accordingly I can check how this model can work. So this is the basic concept of machine learning. Now different types of machine learning are already available. First one is supervised, then unsupervised, semi-supervised and reinforcement learning. When I am thinking about the supervised learning, you can see number of, you are already familiar with the Facebook data. So if you want to tag your friends, you can see in a picture or image, some suggestions will come. So that means through computer vision, if it is already labeled, it can identify this face of your friends, and it can recommend or suggest something. This is the name, you can tag. So this is the basic concept of supervised learning, where you are feeding some data with the label. You can see the set of label data, where is the elephant, camel, cow, whatever you have, that you are giving to your model. And what are the labels? It can be identified that this type of object is cow, then this type of object is elephant, this type of object is camel. So during the training data set, with this supervision, it can produce some desired output, which one is the elephant. Next time it can identify which one is the elephant, which one is the camel, and which one is the cow. So this is not a problematic one. If you have the label data, if you can train your model well, it can identify your test data, whatever you are giving your testing phase. Problem will come in case of unsupervised learning, where you are giving some input raw data where no label are provided. So in that case, how I can identify this is the elephant, this is the camel, and this is the cow? I can group the objects based on its features. So I can make a cluster for cow, make a cluster for elephant, make a cluster for camel. I can make that group, I can differentiate from my raw data. So interpretation is there, algorithm there, and then process. You can see 3 different groups have been identified. In this phase, either human can intervene, that this is the elephant, because I have already, machine can already differentiated the groups. Now human means as a human beings you can identify, you can help. Otherwise, day by day, when it can learn that okay, this type of objects may be the elephant, because I have the name of the elephant but it is not mapping with other objects. So in that case, this label can also be possible. Now if I am thinking of the semi-supervised learning, so this is a mixture of the labeled and unlabeled data. So you can see that only partial labels, camels and cows are available. Now how I can identify the elephant. Now elephant, in this data set, elephant is the unlabeled data. So what we can do through the learning phase, if I can identify the already these are the camels and these are the cows, these have been labeled or identified as a group. Now the next group, I have one name but it has not been tagged anywhere. You can see in Facebook also some wrong suggestion may also come. That depends on the efficiency of your system model. Sometimes I can recommend wrongly. I am mentioning this one is the zebra. It may happen because the learning time or learning efficiency is not so well. But if the learning efficiency is well, day by day I can also identify this unlabeled data, this is the elephant. So this is the basic concept of semi-supervised learning. Next I am coming to the reinforcement learning. I am giving one example again. Suppose you are playing with your puppy. Now you are saying sit, but your puppy cannot understand that what to do. Puppy is moving around. So in that case, by accident, if it can sit, if the puppy can sit, that time you are giving some treats to this puppy. So puppy can understand when you are saying sit, and that time by chance he is sitting there and he will get this treat. So this is one reward. So if I will do this type of activities, I will get one reward. So this is how I can learn. So each time then, if you say the sit option, that time you will try to sit to get the reward or to get the treat. So 2 types of reinforcement can be possible. One is positive reinforcement, another is negative reinforcement. We mainly focus on positive reinforcement to motivate the model so that the model can get some rewards after giving some good result. At the same time, some punishment or negative rewards are also there. This is a negative reinforcement. So in this way we can control the behavior of the model. So how it can react for a particular action. So that is known as reinforcement learning. Next one is very important, because AI, as each technology has two sides, one is positive and another is negative. If negative part is more compared to the positive part, it will not be good for us. So if I can understand what this model is doing, so I can guide this model. If I cannot understand, suppose a model has generated some output, I don't know how this output has been generated, so I cannot guide this model, I cannot guide the student. So some explanation is very much required, why this output has been generated. You can also see, suppose your students submitted some assignments, but he has no clear idea why he has done this. So in that case, how can you guide him? So if he can explain why he did this part, then you can guide this one. That's why in your artificial intelligence framework or model, if you can add the explainability part, why it happened, then the model can be improved well. You can see here, first time when I am thinking that explainable AI, training data, learning process, learn function, I am saying this is the cat, this object is a cat. Why this is a cat, I have no explanation here. So user with a task, what I will do? Next time when I am thinking about the explainable interface, that it has fur, whiskers and claws, that's why I am saying it is the cat. So this is the concept of the explainable AI. If in your model, if in your framework you have some explanations of your result, then it is easier for the end user to do the next task.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
Not that I know anything about AI within a not that I know anything about AI, but it is very interesting subject that you have taken. We were talking about reinforcements. Now you said that if it doesn't sit, then the cat is punished, and if it sits, it is rewarded with that. As I understand, when we talk about reinforcement, if at all I have punished, then certain reinforcement is there. But in day-to-day as humans, how it can be incorporated in machines is the question that I'm trying to ask. Is, as a human being, there is a certain kind of behavior that is expected in an office. Now, if I continue to do that kind of behavior, I'm never rewarded, but not punished as well. But if I don't do, then only I get punished. So the reinforcement is to continue to behave that way, rather than being punished or rewarded. So there's no reward coming, there is no punishment happening, but my behavior is reinforced, that I continue to behave in a particular fashion so that I'm living a comfortable life. How do we, that is also reinforced.
Yes.
How do we bring that into machine learning or whatever?
In the machine part, so machine learning model needs to identify which type of actions we can follow to get the reward. As you are saying that suppose I am not doing a particular type of work, that's why I am not getting any reward, but I will not be punished.
No, I say come in time. So I continue to come in time. Okay?
But no reward is there.
No reward, and the fear of punishment is not letting me come late. You understand it?
Yes.
So it is reinforced that come to office in time, come to office in time. So it happens, and I develop that way. Can this kind of be incorporated in machines?
That can be incorporated based on the algorithms.
Okay.
But the thing is that by default, as we are saying about the generic part, where we can make it on the positive or the negative. Either you will be punished by the system will get the 0 marks or something, the negative marks, or the system will get the positive marks, that is the reward part. In this way, In the generic part, we will do this. Whatever you are saying, if we can design this one, obviously it will work, but it is not for the human beings. Whatever we are doing in the real life, that we can make a group. That is, one is either you can do positively or you can do negatively. So that is the generic explanations.
जैसे मैं एक sorry.
Yes, yes.
जैसे बच्चा भी behave करता है, तो वो ये जानता है कि ये करेंगे तो माँ बाप डांटेंगे, तो उसका reinforcement होता है, उसका एक model of behavior हो पाता है. करेगा तो शायद थप्पड़ खाएगा, लेकिन होता नहीं है, और वो continuously एक pattern में work करता है.
That is also, sir, this is the negative, this is the fear of the negative reward.
Fair. But he is not punished.
No.
And he is not rewarded either.
Yes.
It happens.
But, so then he will not do this, child will not do these things, this type of things. Here also machine will not, if it is the punishment fear, if this type of things are there, so only machine or model will go on the particular way so that there is no fear of the punishment. So just like this is.
So how do we judge that this is right and wrong? Because when we talk about behavior is multifaceted in different ways, environment, everything is different. But anyway, आपकी बात मैं समझ गया.
That is the definition that is written in the algorithm part, and accordingly we can customize this one.
ठीक है, thank you.
So next one, if we think it about this explainable artificial intelligence framework in educational institute. So this is very important, because suppose I want to start NEP, and it is mentioned in NEP I need to use the AI tools. Suppose I want to start LMS in my institute. So if I cannot understand what is LMS, how it can work, I cannot do learning management system. Suppose I want to incorporate it in my institute. So what is the thing? If there is no explanation why I want to use it in my institute, what are the features, what are the facilities I will get. So I will say that yes, it is mentioned in the NEP that I need to use AI tool, that's why I have started this one. This is not the logic. So we must have some explanation so that we can start. So if we think about the educational institute also, we need to think about the stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders who benefit from this explanation? I am giving some explanation why I want to start NEP, why I want to start LMS in my institute. So it must have a clear idea to all my stakeholders. This is one thing. What value do explanations provide? That is the next thing, that is the benefits. What are the benefits I will get from the LMS part? Approaches, how should explanations be presented? So what are the explanation? I am mentioning it in manual way, but system do something, system some techniques, some machine language will be there. So this should be justified enough. So how should this explanation be presented? There should be one clear idea. AI models, which type of AI models I want to use in my system? My user interface should be the user friendly one, so that I have no problem when I want to use my LMS, because all the people are not tech savvy. Suppose I want to start LMS in my institute, all the stakeholders are not tech savvy. So I must have one user friendly interface. That also we have the clear idea which type of interface we are using and what challenges are there, what are the problems we are facing. So these things we need to consider. I am not saying that all the AI models it has not been included, but when I am mentioning this framework as the explainable AI, it is responsible to give this explanation, otherwise it has no use. Next one is responsible AI. We all know the Sustainable Development Goal, SDG. Now in Industry 5.0 and Society 5.0, Industry 4.0 focuses on only the efficiency of the technology. What Society 5.0 or Industry 5.0 is saying, that it is the sustainable solution, it must provide some sustainable solution. So while I am using AI, I am using technology, I am too much advanced, this is not the way. I need to know how I can provide a sustainable solution using this technology. That's why when I am using AI also, that time you need to consider responsible AI, which follow the ethical guidelines, because already we mentioned few things. I will again mention the ethics behind the AI, that is very important. Already ma'am mentioned that when students are copying and pasting these things, so this is the unethical part. We need to train our students this thing also. So that part also we need to design, because these are also in the 0 level right now. It has been started. So we need to think about responsible AI or ethical AI which follow the ethical guidelines. So you can see here, when this explainable AI provides insight into AI result after computation, RAI ensures ethical practices during AI planning and development. And if these approaches can work together to create better and trustworthy AI system, otherwise people may not trust this system. So that is important for the time being. Considering the current scenario, we need to be the ethical one, we need to follow the ethical guideline. That's why we can say that when I am considering any AI framework in my domain, in my area, that may be for content generation, that should follow the explainability as well as the ethical guidelines. So these are few features or principles of responsible AI. You can see human-centric design should be there. This is robustness and safety, collaboration should be the societal impact, that is very important. As I mentioned, that it supports society 5.0. This responsible AI is responsible to support SDG as well as society 5.0, which can provide only sustainable solution. Now, as we discussed that AI cannot replace the human beings. But sometimes what are the cases we see, that I have designed some solution with AI where there is no need of human beings. AI can do some automation, and in that case workload of the human beings can be reduced. But when I am thinking about some strategy or I want to take some decision, that time AI is not capable to do all the things. That time I need to be the middleman, as the human beings I need to be the middleman in the framework. That is known as HITL, human in the loop. So it is suggested, considering the current scenario, when I am designing any framework, that may be for any case digital content creation or any other application area, we need to consider human beings as the entity of our framework. So that is known as HITL. So you can see whatever you are doing, that should be validated by the human beings. So in this framework, only AI can assist human beings, not replace human beings. So this type of intelligence is known as augmented intelligence. So artificial intelligence, if we think about the basic artificial intelligence, where machine can replace human beings to do the repetitive works or to do some calculation, complex calculation. But when I am thinking about the augmented intelligence, machines aiding human process. So where machine can aid, there are some repetitive works, tedious job. I do not want to do this type of work. So that can be done by the machine. When there are some calculation, complex calculation, as a human beings I may make mistake, or it may take maximum time. And as I have the empathy, I have the emotion, I have the stress, I may not perform well all the time. So that's why this is the today's demand. We need to think about the augmented intelligence, not only generic artificial intelligence. So augmented intelligence can keep human beings in the middle and do the work with explanation and responsibility. Next one is conversational AI. So when you are thinking about this is again the part Alexa and Siri, if you get the example. So whatever I am saying, that can be interpreted speech to text. So whatever I am saying, that will be converted to text, that is the listening mode. Then we already discussed about the natural language processing. Under natural language processing, there are several components. Natural language understanding, how user understand, how machine understand natural language, whatever I am saying. Machine needs to understand this one so that it can process. So this is known as natural language understanding. And then dialogue management. So forming response. Suppose you are asking about the temperature, today's temperature. So I, as the machine, I need to find out what is the today's temperature, then I need to form the response. That is the dialogue management, how I can respond. And then natural language generation, in which language Alexa will give you that result, temperature. So these are the components for natural language processing which is used in the conversational AI, which is very important for digital content creation also. So these things are under machine learning, but these are the components we need to consider the conversational AI. Chatbots we all know. Now again, if we use chatbot in our institute, at the education sector, it can assist our students. Again, it cannot replace teacher or professor, but at the free time student can explore this, number of assistants can be provided. So these all the things can be done by the artificial intelligence techniques like natural language processing, speech recognition, data mining, machine learning. So these things are there to assist the students or to improve the teaching learning procedure. So chatbots are already there in different applications, different domains, but if we can incorporate it, all the institutes can incorporate this chatbot, so it will be easier for the student to interact with the system. Next important thing which is very much relevant for digital content creation, that is known as generative AI, generative artificial intelligence. What is the difference with the other artificial intelligence part? Artificial intelligence, whatever I am providing, whatever data I am providing to the system model, based on the learning, it can generate same type of data or the same some decision, not data, some decision it can generate. That is applicable for machine learning, artificial intelligence, deep learning, whatever, some problems can be solved. Now I want to generate some new contents. It cannot be possible by traditional artificial intelligence. That's why you need to consider the generative artificial intelligence which can generate something new. That's why we need to expand the learning phase maximum so that it can generate whatever the query or prompt I am providing. All of you are, I think, familiar with the ChatGPT. So whatever the questions you are presenting in front of this generative AI model, it will give some answer. Now you can say all time this answer may not be correct. There is few limitations in your system model, maybe few limitations. Another thing is, whatever the prompt you are using, how you are asking the question, that may be the problem. Suppose your student is asking a question to you. You can't understand this question because there are some problems in the question, in the language or something like that. He or she may not represent the exact query. So in that case, it may give the wrong result. So generative AI basically is in high demand nowadays. So you can think this works on the GPT, generative pre-trained transformer. There is one large language model where maximum amount of languages are fed or are inserted to train the model, so that next time if I want to get some idea, suppose I am saying that give me some details of the coronavirus, I want to say this one. Now it can generate something. Now the question is that it is not taking the data from directly internet. So as already it has been discussed that suppose students are copying the data from this generative AI model. Whatever the software we normally use, Authenticate, suggested by UGC, Authenticate itself cannot detect this. Can you say why? Why Authenticate cannot detect the similarity generated by generative AI model? Have you tried anytime? Because we are not taking this data directly from internet. If I am copying something directly from internet and then I am giving this document for plagiarism checking, it will show you high similarity score. So whatever the content generated by generative AI model, mainly you can say the ChatGPT, because most of you are familiar with ChatGPT, it is complete the language of that model. Obviously it has been learned from the different sources, from different data, but it is not copying anything from internet. That's why you can say if you are using Authenticate, there is one option of AI generator score. If you can see your similarity score may be 0. Suppose your student submitted one assignment, you can see similarity score is 0 because he has not copied anything from internet or any other sources. That's why similarity score is 0. But if you can check the AI generator score, this is 99%, because he has copied directly from the ChatGPT, as for example. So that we can identify, but still we need some improvement in this authenticate model also. All time it may not give you the correct answer. So these are the few problems, and you can see the traditional difference between traditional AI and generative AI. So traditional AI, already we discussed the Netflix recommendation, different types based on your buying pattern. Amazon can suggest few products. So these type of things are already known to all of us. Now when you are thinking of the generative AI, it is capable to generate text, image, audio, video, anything. But again, that doesn't mean that I will copy it blindly. Whatever the things I have, I need to validate, I need to check, and accordingly we can take it. So generative AI is based on the large language model when I am thinking only about the text based data. But generative AI doesn't mean that always it will produce the text type data. It can produce video, audio, image. Large language model is only capable to handle text type of data. That is the example ChatGPT. OpenAI's large language model is available. Right now ChatGPT, we already use this one, ChatGPT 3.5, which is free. But there are number of issues may come, as it is the free version. ChatGPT 4.0 is the subscribed version. If you want to use, you need to do the subscription to use it. But again I am saying, when you want to use this type of generative AI model, you need to subscribe. Why? Because if you are using the free data and you will give some data of your institute, these data also acts as a learning data. This model will take this as the learning data and it can be misused. There may be the privacy concern. So either you can customize a framework for your institute, design a framework for your institute, or you can use the subscribed version. If you give your confidential data in the free version, it can be misused, because these data are used by the system, used by the model as the learning data, and accordingly it can behave. So this is the example of generative pre-trained transformer. As we mentioned, that when I am asking something, it will generate something. Behind this text based generation, we need to think about the generative pre-trained transformer. This is a transformer based on the deep learning model, already we discussed, to generate human like text learning by learning patterns from extensive text data sets during pre-training. So suppose I am asking one question, that question is out of domain for this large language model. I have not inserted similar type of data during the learning phase, but as I have already inserted variety of data in the large language model, it is capable to generate new content based on my query. So that is the significance or objective of GPT, or generative pre-trained transformer. Number of generative AI tools are already available. Google provide Google Bard, just like ChatGPT. If you want to create your PPT with the help of the generative AI model, there is a Gamma, you can use it. But again the same thing, if you use the free version, it will provide you the logo. PPT will be provided with the logo of Gamma. So if you want to generate logo free content, that time you need to subscribe for these generative AI models. So these are the few. ChatGPT is very common to all of us. Otherwise we can think the Google Bard, Jasper Chat, and many more. Already Meta AI already has been discussed. It is already there in the Facebook and WhatsApp. You can use this one. Now what are the things we need to consider for using ChatGPT type of generative AI models? Plagiarism and its misuse, privacy issue, and biasness in your data. Sometimes you can see ChatGPT type generative AI model can remember whatever you sent before, whatever questions you sent before. Based on this pattern, it can provide some result sometimes which is not directly related to your current question. So these are the example of some biasness. It may be there. So that thing you need to overcome. That's why human intervention is very much required. So these are the few examples of ChatGPT, its capabilities and the limitations. So it is mentioned explain quantum computing in simple terms. You can also say explain quantum computing for 5 years old student. So it will generate like this. But whatever the query, whatever the prompt you will give, you need to be very careful about that so that it is clear to the model so that it can generate the output accordingly. Now what are the capabilities you can see? Remember what user said earlier in the conversation, that can be remembered. Allow user to provide follow-up corrections. So suppose you have not provided all the data, all the queries, your queries may not be completed in a single prompt. Next time you can correct your query and the content will be generated accordingly. And train to decline inappropriate requests. Sometimes you have sent some queries, so I am sorry, I cannot generate this type, I have not generated this type of data. Because one limitation mainly for ChatGPT 3.5 and ChatGPT 4.0, the data are mainly based on till 2021. It needs to be updated, but it may not be updated. This is the limitation. So if you ask something after the 2021, then the result may not be the correct one. Mobile GPT, another thing you can see in your WhatsApp or any smartphone, you can use this type of application. I am just showing what are the things you need to follow when you are generating your prompt. Write an essay. You are mentioning which type of content you want. Write an essay as a neutral observer or as an expert, that you need to mention, to educate students about dangers of plagiarism in a serious tone. So if you can mention your prompt in this manner clearly, your content will also be improved if your data model is correct. So this is very important, the tone, in which tone you want the data, in what are the audience for which you want to generate the data, what are the formats you want, acts as an expert, acts as a reviewer, acts as a teacher, professor, that role also you need to explicitly mention, and what is your objective to generate this data. If you clearly can mention this thing, that's why there are a number of courses you can say where you need to know prompt engineering. There's one part, prompt engineering, how to write the prompt. That is also very important to generate your content. So these are the few things. You can try the mobile GPT, but again the same thing, the problems are there. If you will use it in your mobile, any app, any generative AI model, if it is activated in your smartphone, sometimes what happens, whatever you are saying, whatever you are typing, that can also be captured and that can be misused. So when you are installing any generative AI model in your smartphone, either you need to inactive or stop it. When you will use it, only you need to initiate this one, activate this one. Otherwise, if it is, I am not saying that all time it will happen, but it may happen. Whatever you are doing, your image can be captured in, sometimes you are doing this, whatever you are typing, that data can be captured by your active generative AI model, which may run in the background, and this data can be misused. So mobile GPT is also capable to deal with the images, which is not possible through ChatGPT. ChatGPT can only work for text-based data. So different types of images you can say. Again, the prompt you can see here. Consider the type, subject, setting and the description. Generate a photorealistic image of a dog in a studio setting with perfect lighting looking into the camera. So these things you need to clearly mention so that this type of image can be generated through mobile GPT. Also you can see the web ChatGPT. ChatGPT can only consider the learning data, whatever the model learned. Based on this, it can generate the result. If you follow the web ChatGPT, this can take help of the web also. So there are a number of add-in options. When you are installing ChatGPT in your system, you can also enable this add-in web ChatGPT. So this will also check the web when it will generate something, because ChatGPT has some limitations. So if you want to expand this, you can install the add-in of web ChatGPT so that it can give you the current result. So there are a number of add-in options. Also you can upload a particular file. Suppose you are uploading the previous year's question paper and you are saying that generate the same type of question paper. But again I am saying, if you want to do this, you need to subscribe this one, otherwise this type of free version can misuse your data if you think that it is a confidential one. Now this type of option is also, there is the add-in option where you can upload the file and accordingly the same type of question paper can be generated. Same type of, not the same question paper. But in that case, your tone should be the correct one. Whatever you are saying in your prompt, that should be the correct one, so that system model can generate this one. So ethical principle, I am not saying going to the details, you know that how to use it. Some ethics you need to maintain, you need to follow when you are using the artificial intelligence framework, especially for the digital content creation. So these are the few things: generative AI ethical consideration, biasness, privacy. Economic disruption means suppose you have the content creator in your company, so this job should not be replaced by generative AI. Content creator can be aided by generative AI. So that you also need to think about. I am not saying that it cannot be replaced, but these things are also very important. The economic disruption, what strategies exist to address job displacement caused by automated content creation. So security is also an issue, content regulation, environmental impact, transparency should be there, and moral responsibility. These things you need to consider when you are using the generative AI model for your digital content creation. Most important thing for your generative AI model is hallucination. I think many of you may hear this one. You already faced this if you use ChatGPT type of generative AI model. What is hallucination? Whatever I am saying, whatever the prompt I am giving, it will give some irrelevant result. So it refers to a situation where AI language model generates content that is unrealistic, fictional, incorrect, or unrelated to the given prompt. That is known as hallucination. And to avoid this hallucination, human intervention is very important. So hallucination can spread false information. Suppose you are blindly, as a student, you are blindly copying from your generative AI model content. So it will give the wrong result. So these things you need to be very careful, and also need to train your students about this. So users may lose trust in the AI's reliability because he or she can say that I have copied it from the AI model, so how this information is false. Incorrect or irrelevant responses can confuse user. Now what are the mitigation part? Ensuring that trained data is of high quality, accurate, and generated from diverse data sets. So diverse data set learning is very important for your efficiency of this model. Developing or refining algorithms that can understand and process context more efficiently, and reviewing AI generated contents by human. So human intervention is very important when I am using generative AI model for digital content creation. So there are few contradictions or part you already can see, or on the trial and error basis, prompts for contradicting information. Suppose I am giving one prompt where in the prompt itself there are some contradiction part. Inaccurate scientific claims I want to do, factual contradiction. So if these type of things are already there in your prompt, hallucination will occur. So this is not the problem of the model, this is the problem in your prompt. That's why you need to be very careful when you are giving the prompt in your generative AI model. So you can use this artificial intelligence for different types of content creation. So automated writing, video and audio generation, social media post, search engine optimization, content SEO, you can see blog post, number of things you can create, language translation, graphic design, all the things can be done by this AI model. And this is the large language model, already we discussed. So massive data set we need to consider. Then deep learning model, this is the transformer architecture, and after the learning phase it will be fine tuned to provide you the result or provide you the content. So if you want to generate digital content text based, on the basis of text based data, you need to depend on this large language model of the OpenAI. Normally other companies also provide this one. Microsoft has some data or tools, but mainly it is very popular OpenAI's LLM model, which can provide you the massive data. So AI for digital content creation, already we discussed content generation, personalized data can be possible, optimized content can be done, automation can be possible, data analysis you can do. Also what you can do, if you in your PhD or sometimes you may not get sufficient data. So that time if you want to test something, you can also generate synthetic data through this large language model for the testing part. So you can check your model, you can check your code by this synthetic data. So this can also be possible. Data analysis part, creative assistance and quality control. These are important. So text generation, normally we focus on OpenAI's GPT-4, that is the ChatGPT subscribed version. Jasper is also there to create the blog post mainly for the marketing. If you want to do marketing for your company, so Jasper is very efficient tool. Copy.ai is also there already. I think many of you already use this one. Provide tools for generating marketing copy, email content, product description. Next one is image generation. Daily can create this one, so whatever text you are providing, based on this the image can be generated. Midjourney. So these are the few tools which are very efficient for generating image. Next is video creation and editing. So number of tools, you can say there are number of tools, but these are few which are very important or which are providing effective result. So Pictory and Synthesia, these are the two for video creation. Again, you need to provide the prompt accurately so that video can be created according to your requirement. And audio and voice, there is a Descript which can provide the audio and voice according to your requirement. Then you can edit this and customize this for a particular context. So benefits, obviously benefits of AI or generative AI in digital content creation. It is efficient, it will increase the scalability. This is the personalization and targeting. This you can check who is your audience, accordingly you can customize your content, and this is also the cost effective one. Because sometimes there is one topic I may not have any idea about this. That type of hints I can get from this generative AI model, and then I can expand this content according to my requirement. And challenges, obviously their quality control is a big issue, and when I am using it in the educational purpose, we need to be very careful about the ethical part and whether it is following the guidelines provided by the institutes. That is also very important. And biasness and fairness should be avoided there in the data. There is the intellectual property and copyright issues. I am not going to that details because there I think defined sessions are there, and ethical implications. So when we are designing or when you are using this creative content or digital content, you need to be very careful to face these type of challenges. So this is the conclusion. So already we have the experience to use this content. How to use this, I have given you the basic overview of how to use the digital content using AI models, but it can improve, it can be improved anytime, because there is the option for augmented reality and virtual reality. I think many of you have the experience in Amazon. You can use augmented reality, some products you can check how it can be visible in your home. The 3D visibility is there. This is the augmented reality. So if I can incorporate this in the digital content creation, your quality of the content will be improved. So also need to think about this, the virtual reality and augmented reality part. So how 3D model I can visualize in my reality. So this is the thing we need to consider, and content creators need to adapt evolving AI technologies, embracing new skills and approaches to stay positive or competitive. Now the recommendation is that we need to design or need to use the generative AI model that provides the explainability, responsibility or response that supports the responsible or ethical AI, and provide the customized solution according to the requirement, so that whatever you are using, whatever we want to do for digital content creation, it will be the effective one. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you, Dr. Topolina Bhattacharya, for such an engaging presentation. I would just have a very short 10 minutes interaction. If you have any questions, please can we have the light of the auditorium, please? Before we take the questions from the audience, I have one small question. That is, you are saying that we should not use the free versions because that might leak our confidential information. But if we subscribe, can we be sure that the information will not be leaked?
So normally the thing is that it is a good question. In the subscribe version, you have the authenticity, you have the user ID password, you have paid. So that's why obviously it can be misused, but that the probability is less. But when I am using the free version, I cannot ensure anything because my identity I have not subscribed free version. So anyone can do this, and this learning part, this is the whatever doing in the free version, it is not the same for the subscribe version. Subscribe version, they will provide the account according to your requirement. Obviously privacy can be leaked anywhere, that can be done. I am not saying, so here if you are using the free version, If we have the probability for the 90%, in that case it will be the 40%, like this. The percentage will be reduced.
Do we have any more questions we can take from the audience? Yes.
Thank you for your nice presentation, ma'am. My question is, in the plagiarism checking software, it is understandable that if the content is copied from the internet, it shows high plagiarism. But how it works in case of AI generated content, because we may think that it is unique from the internet content.
Again, I am saying, if you are using the free tools in the for plagiarism, whatever available in website, number of free tools are available, in that case the similarity score may not be the correct one, and the number of AI detected tools are also there, but these are not reliable. I am saying the iThenticate, I am suggesting iThenticate because it is recommended by UGC. But again, simple iThenticate, if you will not go to the subscribe the license, if you will not purchase the license for the AI detection, you cannot detect the AI content through iThenticate. For this, you need to purchase the license for AI detection. If you will purchase this license, there will be one option for AI detection score. That will give you the score, and you can identify whether this content is generated by AI or not.
Now, my question is how it works. That how you think that the AI generated content is unique from internet content.
They have the tools. They have the specific tools, because AI itself know that how it can work, how they are generating these things.
Yeah.
They are using the same type of things. Though which type of tools are using this generated this type? You can see there is one word. I think those who are using Delve. There is one word Delve that is very common, generated by generative AI tools. Normally we can also right now understand that which type of contents are generated by generative AI model. Generally few things we can understand. Besides this, if you want to use it, consider it technically, there are some learning models which is designed only for identifying this type of content, not for the web content or something like that. Only they can detect, they know that, because which type of large language model. Suppose I am using the content through large language model. The detector has this type of reverse option of which type of possibilities can be generated by large language model. These type of things have been already learned by this model, so that this detector tool can identify that what are the AI generated contents. So this has been designed only for this, because they know that which type of data LLM considered. Accordingly, which type of content they can generate. So they can detect accordingly.
So according to that, if I create content from AI and then modify according, it will show high AI generated content in the plagiarism checking. So that will create problem also.
Which one? Please repeat again.
Yes, if content according to our requirement, if we put some input in our command from in the ChatGPT or like that, and modify according to our requirement, and if we try to create a paper from that, and it will
the content. The thing is, this one and do something. That means you can get the idea from this model, and then you can use it in your own word. Then it will not be detected.
So you are saying that we should not possibly use this. So that is not a good idea to use AI for thesis, I guess.
Thank you, ma'am.
Do we have any more questions from the audience? Yes, please.
Can I have two questions if it is?
Sector as they are getting payment from you, they will normally not leak your data. In that way, you can secure your data if you want to do so.
Is enough.
The capacity machine, they can identify what are the features, what are the things, which type of queries you do. They know, they have some idea about you as you are using in your system, in your account. That may be the free version. But if you are using in the web browser, you will be as the guest. So the answer will be like that. If you want to get the hints, that is okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Can we have he's there. Yeah.
Good afternoon. I just want to know that you just told me that we can generate some synthetic data for checking our models, right? So when we are creating some data, and obviously that will be fed to our model. Now, how far that synthetic data can be realistic? I mean, if the data is not realistic, or say if it's differing from the reality,
You mentioned that this type of sales data I need. This type of data can be generated. You can show, you can demonstrate your student that this is the function of this type of function, Excel functions. This will work on this data like this. But if you want to do it for your PhD, if you want to do it for your journal submission, it is not validated. So this type of synthetic data is not validated. No, in that case, we cannot use this. This is only for give the demonstration to the students, how to use this one.
okay. Thank you.
So do we have any more questions? Any more questions can we take? Okay. Then we will break for lunch. We will come back at 2 o'clock for lunch, after lunch for the next sessions. And I would please request all of you, if you have your chauffeurs outside waiting, please ask them to come in for lunch. We have provisions for them as well. So we'll break for lunch and come back at 2 o'clock for the next sessions on law and artificial intelligence. Please come back at 2 o'clock for the next session.
Our heartfelt thanks to Dr. Tapulina Bhattasali for enlightening us. Shall we give a round of applause for her for enlightening talk?
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.